Hi, and welcome back to the YouTube channel here at Leitrim Daily. It's, of course, Championship Sunday this weekend, and Leitrim host Mayo in the first round of the Connacht Senior Football Championship. And normally, we would be all excited. We'd be thousands of us looking to go to the game on Sunday in Park Sean McDermott, but not this year. We all know why, of course. It's down to the coronavirus and the restrictions that have been enforced across all of our sporting outlets for the last couple of weeks and, of course, most of the year itself. That being said, there is the small matter of a football match, and one man who knows all about playing in the Connacht Championship for Leitrim is Derek Kelleher. He joins me now. Derek, you're very welcome to the programme.
Thanks, Breifne. Delighted to be here.
It's been an interesting year. We had you in a couple of weeks ago talking about Leitrim versus Anaduff in the intermediate final. That game, of course, never took place. So what have you been up to for the last few weeks with no football to kind of to watch and to tide you over the last month or so?
Well, I suppose I tried to watch the soccer, but that doesn't work out that terribly well for me. In regards to the football, there's been a couple of National League games been streamed live on RTE, and the interest levels, and I think with the football that's been played, it's great to watch, but it's very unusual to be watching a game on your own, just with the people in your own house, because we're used to the crowds that are at games when we go to games. And then we're used to, if we're watching a game, we generally watch it with somebody that's interested in it, a supporter as well, and to be an excitement in a sitting room or in a shed, as you can see. So the kind of excitement, it's unusual, but I suppose this weekend we need to kind of get it out to Leitrim people. Like Mayo would have had a big win against Galway and played unreal football, and social media went mad with Aidan O'Shea going up for high balls and probably the best picture of the year. But we need to really get the thing going again for the Leitrim players, management and the county board, because we're in a situation now that we're not 100% sure we're going to be out of it by next year with COVID-19. So we have to make the best of it. So it'll be great to see people getting out the flags, getting the social media, talking about the game, building it up. Mayo are going to be serious contenders for an All-Ireland from the way that I've seen them playing against Galway. But to be honest, Leitrim played against Tipperary, and the level of fitness and what they put into it, especially with everything around the game against Down and COVID coming in and interfering with the panel and players and work with the 14-day restricting your movements, for some employers want that. So it added to a little bit of press that isn't really needed at this moment in time, because everybody is struggling around the country with COVID, be it rugby, soccer, people in their personal lives. So this weekend we have it at 1:30 on Sunday. Leitrim versus Mayo, it would be a packed Park Sean for that. Mayo always travel with massive numbers, and the Leitrim crew will be out. I know that we were relegated last weekend, but with the performance that we're put in, we're not far off. And, you know, to get into a game against Mayo, they'd be massive favourites. But look at Leitrim are used to coming in as underdogs. So that's the position that we're in at the minute.
Now, of course, you would have played many games against Mayo in the Connacht Championship. What's your own memories, either of playing them over in Castlebar or bringing them in here to Carrick? Which is your preference? Would you prefer the kind of the noise and the cauldron of McHale Park, or is a home tie always preferred?
I suppose a home tie in Park Sean is always preferred. Against Mayo, it's to bring the crowd. Against Roscommon, it's to try and get you over the line, we'll say, because it's really when you're next door neighbours. But with Mayo, they've been so strong for so long. They have the experience of All-Ireland finals. They have an excellent club set up. They're a big county, big money been pumped in, big sponsorship been pumped in. But if we were allowed to go to the game on Sunday, I'd say it'd be a massive turnout. And even if it's a case of everybody from Leitrim would be supporting Leitrim, but to get a look at Mayo, to get a look at what we see on television going on. But I think with the way that it's going at the minute, I suppose we got relegated. Mayo got relegated as well, but Mayo ended up with a neutral score difference. We ended up with a -20 in the Division 3, where you take in the scores for and scores against. So if you're looking at that, Mayo, look at unlucky, I think would it be 23 years, maybe Division 1, 13 years or 23, I'm not 100% sure. But they'll be hot favourites coming in. Like from my personal point of view, from playing years ago, I'd love to get to the biggest stadium with the biggest crowd there, because the adrenaline rush that comes in once you can control your own emotions, you can calm down and use it to your benefit, is the biggest part of it. Now, I suppose we've seen an awful lot of club football, even inter-county football, that the football has been much better. Crowds aren't allowed to go to games with COVID-19. So some players must be taking in something in their head, as professional as they can be. Something gets to them, or there's distraction. So we're seeing fantastic football from both sides. They've been playing quite well. Leitrim, unfortunately, got relegated. It's very hard to go up, and then COVID coming in knocks you a bit. The down game knocked us a bit. But look, you have to look after people's health at the end of the day, and that's why we're not at the game on Sunday. That's why we're going to be watching it at home.
Talk to us about the down game, because I personally think Leitrim made the right decision. I think the players and management and the county board came to the right decision, what was best for that group of players, and the risk versus the reward. The down game was immaterial, and it turned out it was anyway, but even if we'd beaten down, we still would have been relegated. So there was nothing really to play for, wasn't worth going up. What were your thoughts on it?
Leitrim's decision not to play the down game was it was the best interests of the players, their family, and the community in Leitrim, and down as well. We're in a situation at the minute that unfortunately, we still have a divide in Ireland with the north-south, but it's really showing up now with COVID-19, because employers are looking for people to self-isolate for 14 days. They can't go to work. That's where they make their living. So it's not a professional game. You can call it an elite game with the way the government recommendations have come in, that elite sports, but we can't be put into bubbles at the weekend. We can't stay away from people at work to be able to be 100% sure that we're COVID free for the following weekend. So I suppose rapid testing is fine, but we don't know, and the HSE don't know, the government don't know, and most of the world don't know exactly what we're up against at the minute. We're fighting what we know at the minute, but after that, so I have to compliment the county board on making a decision. There was a number of individuals discussing it. It was discussed in the media, but at the end of the day, the Leitrim County Board, the players and management, they put their own people first and health first, because we are in a pandemic, and Division 3 football, Division 4 football at all will not make a difference to people if they get sick or lose a loved one. So I have to compliment them on it. And some counties had followed suit after. Some counties came down from the 6 counties down to play a game in the Republic. So that got rid of that 14-day, we'll say, quarantine. But I think it was a great decision, a bold one that you're always going to get knocked over the head, especially from Leitrim. Like, who would think that Leitrim would lead the way, especially calling off club games a number of months ago?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about, because Leitrim have led the way on both of those issues now, and were proven right the first time in the fact that the GAA and the government came out, and a couple of days later actually rubber stamped that and enforced it across the entire country. How much credit do the county board deserve for that?
There's always a saying, credit where credit is due. But if people don't realise that there's credit due, they're not going to say anything. And we are a people, and we're probably our own worst enemy in, we'll say, rural areas, that we'll criticise ourselves, because that's the way that we've been programmed from the hierarchy in the world, that there's no point, if we fight with ourselves and criticise ourselves on the ground, the working class people, that we don't have time to stand up for what's right. So this time, there was no argument. The Leitrim County Board stood up for what was right. They led by example, and I don't think they're going to be looking for any thanks for it, because it was the sensible thing to do. Bold, brave, take it on the chin. And there was some remarks from, we'll say, individuals that were involved last weekend with Tipperary that weren't helpful to the whole setup in the GAA, because we need to realise that this is a bigger health crisis than the people playing on the field. And we do not want to bring a virus or any mishap on any of our people when we come home. So we need to protect our county footballers, our club footballers. I'm just talking about GAA. I could go into every other sport, every other organisation, but this is where it sits with us. And we led the way, and hopefully we'll continue, and the other counties will look and they'll say, well, maybe Leitrim don't have an All-Ireland. But on this occasion, they were the best in the country.
In terms of Sunday's game, let's talk about that for a moment, because we go into the game now. It looks like we'll be without Ryan O'Rourke, who picked up a nasty knee injury, it appears, on Sunday late in the game. He's going to be a massive loss to us at the weekend.
He is. You'd be hoping for Ryan, but anytime that Ryan goes off, he's so fit and his muscle structure and everything is ready to pop. When you're that fit and you get a knock, your muscles, your ligaments, bones will be fine. They can pop very easy. So I'd be hoping to see him at the weekend against Mayo. I think he deserves to play against Mayo if he's fit to play, because he will create problems for Mayo, and they'll be looking at him to see if there's going to be scores coming, that he'd be one of the individuals that would be getting a lot of ball. But look at we could be out. You don't know with the way that it is and with the COVID situation. We're a couple of days before a game. The whole thing can change within a couple of hours. I'm a trade union official and I'm dealing with the HSE, and things change rapidly. When you finish a meeting within 2 hours, the whole situation has changed. And as I said before, nobody has a textbook on this. Nobody's an expert at it. Everybody's trying to do their best, and we will all make mistakes. So at the weekend, I'd hope that for both teams that we can get to the stage that every individual that are on the panels are available to play, unless it's through injury, because that's as far as we can get at the minute.
I know we joked here with Ennis Denson a couple of weeks ago about hopefully a breakout of COVID in Mayo over the next couple of days might give us an advantage. Do we have a chance outside of that scenario? Do we have a chance if Mayo were at full strength? Can we beat them on Sunday?
Look, I suppose for years and years, and I'm Leitrim at heart, I'm proud to be from Leitrim. I broadcasted in places that I shouldn't broadcast it, but look, that's the way it goes. I think realistically speaking, if I speak with my heart, I'd love to say yes. If I speak with my head, when I mentioned about the Mayo with 0 point difference and Leitrim with the 20, like Mayo will be looking at Leitrim to really get a rhythm going before their next game. There's 5 games to win in All-Ireland. This isn't qualifiers. This is no Super 8s. This is 5 games. If Leitrim had 5 games, if you could say, lads, 5 games and you have an All-Ireland. So Mayo can see that. And Mayo are playing excellent football. They're physically bigger. They have a massive amount of money pumped in. They're as professional as you will get. We talk about Dublin with gear and dressing rooms, meals been delivered. That's not happening around the Leitrim end of it. And we are starting to rise with the small population. But I think Mayo will come out. If we can hold our head high, give a good performance against them, and no matter what, never stop. Never concede that one ball until the final whistle, because it's all about the honour, and you go out and you do yourself proud, and you do your family, your parish, and now your Leitrim have done themselves proud with decisions they've made. Now it's about time that the lads do proud by going out and challenge themselves. It's the only way to learn is to play against the best. It's not playing Division 4. It's going out against Mayo, and what that individual does against you that left you bamboozled, that you learnt and you research how he done that, and the next time that you get in the field against him, you'll know him. But Mayo they're massive men. They're a scoring powerhouse, to be honest with you. So we have to try and keep the fouling down to a minimum, and we need a step ladder to keep Aidan O'Shea at bay.
What would you do if you were in Terry's shoes this weekend? What changes or different strategies would you employ to try and quieten the big names that we know of all too well on the Mayo team?
Look, I think Terry and the lads, they played excellent football last year. They got promoted from Division 4, which we hadn't done in years and years. That was, and I always said it before, whatever about Championship, that was the biggest thing that would rise Leitrim support, the confidence in the players, and put us on the map, that we can talk about it without people sniggering at, oh, it's only Leitrim. So we're not only Leitrim anymore, and I'm well behind the players. I don't think Terry needs to make changes. Terry Highland has put a system in place. You can try and go out and mark Aidan O'Shea. You can try and mark Diarmid, but why the 15, the 20 that haven't played? So I would be sticking with the way that Leitrim have been playing and take it on. And this is learning. This is the COVID Championship. So going out against Mayo and then playing in Connacht Chanpionship, to still take the same pride. We're going to be watching it at home on the television. We're still going to be shouting at the television, "Come on, Shane! Come on, everybody!" So the lads need to know that we are all behind them. We may not be there, but our hearts are there with them, and we want them to keep going until the final whistle. And let's see what Mayo have. Mayo might put on a masterclass in football. Maybe they won't, but they have the potential. They've left all Ireland's behind them. So if we were playing Dublin and we're given a 5-goal or 5-point head start, you'd still be talking about Dublin performing out of their skin because they're in a rhythm. So Leitrim winning the game. I don't think that we'll win the game, but if we can stick with them, and if we can show that we actually can play football, that somebody sits up and pays attention and says, that was a fantastic score, that's great defending, that we need something to build on to get back to Division 3. And that's the way that we'll build for the future, because Mayo aren't going to be around forever.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you're in your garden shed at the moment. Is that your normal attire and the normal decor in the place year-round, or is it just because of the week that's in it?
The Leitrim flag is always around here, and when the wife comes out, it's more yoga style. But I'll always get it up when you're a week before the championship. You have the flags out. I have a jersey on me here that I found in the attic, and if anybody is watching, anybody at all, that if they know what year this was, because I don't. I know that I could be back from maybe the early 90s. There's the guaranteed Irish sign here, which we'll need to promote an awful lot more to try and keep businesses going during the current crisis and future crises. And then on the other side, we have the crest. So I'm not 100% sure if anybody that knows that, if they could get on to you or make a comment, because I'd love to know what year the jersey is from.
And what's the prize for someone who gets it right? Do they get to win the jersey?
Breifne, you're cheeky smile.
Listen, Terry, I called you Terry. God, I'm confusing you with Terry Highland or your brother. I'm not quite sure which one is the bigger insult to either of the two men involved. Terry, thank you very much for joining me. Pleasure as always to look back, I suppose, at days of your own experience up against the green and red of Mayo, and it's going to be a tough task this weekend for the 15 lads and everyone else who gets involved in the game on Sunday afternoon. Hopefully we can do the business. Thanks a million for joining me.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you.